I keep disappearing. When those people came, they had to come down from Troy on a day boat.
Yes.
Anybody from Castleton would come to this little village ice dock. This is Seaman Avenue. And there was a little tiny boat dock there. Boats leaving for Sunnyside Island. Sunnyside was 8 acres of land. It was a real island. It had water behind it, and they planted these pond lilies in the back of it to make it look nice. But the village people got on the boat here and were taken out to Sunnyside. Beer. Let's talk about beer.
Okay.
That's what this is. This is a growler, a beer growler. When you had 800 people on an island, you had a whole lot of kegs of beer. And beer came in wooden kegs. And they tapped it. They put a tap in it, a spigot. And this is what you carried. You took your picnic in a basket, but if you intended a man, the women didn't drink beer, if you intended to use or have a drink while you were there all day long, you put it in a growler. It did have a lid.
Yeah.
I don't know, I've never seen one with a lid anymore. As you can see, I use it for a candle
Yes.
on a table where it won't hurt anything. But that's what they put it in. It certainly didn't stay cold, so they drank their beer warm.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that you've been told about is a very secret horse. This
Yes,
can't go on there,
Okay.
believe it or not. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So, you keep that
Pause it.
there for 2
Yeah.
seconds.
Pause it.
This is the only artifacts left from the carousel that was on Sunnyside Island.
Yes.
It was blown up from a picture taken in an attic, and I can show that to you, but you can't copy it
Okay.
or anything till I get permission, and I don't have permission right now. This is what it looked like. See how messy and awful it was?
Yeah.
It's been there 100 years in this attic.
Wow.
So what
Did they
and I
go-
couldn't get his legs. That's why he doesn't have his long legs aren't there. But that's where he came from. If I'm lucky enough to get permission for this, you will get a
Love
copy.
that.
I know. I'm trying to reach him. It's not like I haven't tried. I am trying to do that.
Thank you for doing that.
Now, these are carousel horses. They're stamps. I copied them this morning. I think it would be great if you could, is there an artist in the group? Yes? Sort of?
Kind of.
It doesn't have to
Kinda.
be perfect. If you cut these out, just get the price off of there.
Yeah.
But if you cut them out and put them across, so it looked like they were, a carousel had a roof on it.
Yeah.
And they had you saw the pole coming up from the horse. You held on to it. You've been on carousels or
Yeah.
merry-go-round.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want these, I'll leave these with you.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
that
I'll
would be nice.
And I'll leave the map with you. What? Anything? Ask me.
Well, do you want any of these? Because we can just take one if you want the other.
I have 2 more.
Okay.
I
So
made sure.
we can take these.
I don't know what you're going to do with it. I don't know how many horses you might want to put on it.
I think this is good.
If you don't need 2, I'll take 1 back.
We're good with just one.
We're good.
Yeah, because one
Okay.
has a lot
Okay.
of them are the same.
Here, I'll put that over there.
Okay. I'm coming back.
Okay.
This I'm going to leave with you. You can make them up if you want, or just use one. This is Castleton, and of course the red one is Cow Island or Sunnyside Island.
Yes.
And this is an 1876 map. It's great. I'll take anything back that you don't need. If you copy that, it's going to turn black. So be aware of it. I need to tell you that not only 800 people come to these things, this is the man that ran this. His name was Briggs, John Briggs.
Oh yes, I read about him.
Did you?
Oh yeah,
I
we
found
saw.
one of our historians emailed our teacher, and she said that he made daily whenever he
Yeah.
went near the. He made like daily trips to the island or something.
Did he?
Yeah.
Or whenever he passed by, he stopped.
Whenever
there.
he would pass by.
Yeah.
He was a very smart cookie. He was a very wealthy man. He owned another amusement park that was huge. Do you have any idea where Queens is?
No.
It's down the river toward New York City. It's not far. It might be 5 miles on the other side of the river. There's an island called, he named it Barina Amusement Park.
Yeah.
This is how people from New York came to his amusement, that first amusement park. There are 1,200 people on each one of these ships.
Wow.
Boats. 1,200. So now you're up to 24, you're up to 2,000
Yeah.
people. It's incredible the amount of people that traveled to go to these islands. But don't forget there was nothing else to do.
No, there really wasn't.
They couldn't get in a car. They couldn't swim. They couldn't come by horse and carriage and get there and have fun and go home the same day. These are hay barges. They're actually used to deliver hay, and they have no engines, no motors. They're pulled by tugs.
Oh.
So
It's got to be pretty powerful.
Mr. Briggs, I know, when he decides to put an amusement park on Sunnyside Island, he's already familiar with it because he owns ice houses, and he probably came to the ice houses too. He stored the carousel horses in the ice house on Sunnyside during the winter. He only had permission for the park to be open during the season. So it had to be shut down and everything. This is very interesting, and this is about as far as you're going to get with the horse until I have permission. This is the
Okay.
real horse. All of these things appeared in the Castletonian. It was a paper.
Yes. I've seen this one, but I didn't know there was.
Well, these are good little ditties.
I think I've seen that on the.
John.
Where is it? Well, I've seen.
I have the Lively Day. I have a copy of the newspaper.
I have picnic parties.
And that looks good.
I've seen.
Well, it was only in existence for 3 years, this newspaper.
Yes.
But you have to read these things because your class will
Yeah.
get a kick out of them.
We found this one newspaper article. There was these 3 fleet queens on a boat,
Okay.
and it had a funny comment. I forgot what it
Fleet
was though.
Queens.
Yes, a fleet queen.
How nice. How lovely. I am not familiar with that article. The only thing I included in this was that doesn't pertain to picnics and places where you can do things in the summer is the ice house when it burned.
Yes.
I wanted people to know when Sunnyside lost their ice house. But your movies are on here, and the dates are what? Below the article.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I did this for my presentation when I had it, so I figured
Give me this.
Jen, we're taking pictures.
you want? You asked about masquerade
Yes.
parties and
Yeah.
so forth. I've never known the village to have one. However, do you know a dance card? 100 years ago, the girls held a dance card. Now, this isn't cut out. It would be that size. This is the actual
Yeah.
size of the thing. And it would have, there's a little hole down here, it would have ribbons hanging down in it. And on the inside, this one is different. Usually, you wrote down who you were going to dance with. There'd be, this has what? 13 dances for that evening. This took place on Sunnyside Island. Took place in 1895.
Yeah.
And it was a celebration of 100th anniversary of the corporation of the town of Scotic, which you live in. September 4th 1895.
That.
So you can cut it
Cool.
out, you can put a piece of ribbon on it, you can do anything you would like to do with that.
Okay.
Thanks.
This church group is Sunnyside.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have, let's go back to that map. I can bring that up there if you want.
You
Go
can do
back to
this.
the map. No, I'll just switch this.
Okay.
If I'm clever enough. And I don't need anybody right square in the head. You can move that too. Thank you. Now, I realize that a lot of this stuff is gone, but on this map you'll see, do you know where the Fort Orange is?
Yes.
You're familiar with that, okay.
Yeah.
The Fort Orange, in back of the Fort Orange, there are 2 dams. And the reason I colored this was so that you could follow it, because this comes right out to the Hudson River. Goes through the Fort Orange property, and up in the back, in the gullies, they called it the Mill Rocks. It was a place where people went on Sundays. It looked like this. This is what they call the lower dam. It's
Cool.
beautiful. It's magnificent.
That's really pretty.
All through these woods, there was a boardwalk. The boards were all white, and that's where the ladies that were dressed, in that time period, they had lovely clothing on. They weren't going to walk in the mud or down in the gully and up the other side. So there was actually a boardwalk all through here. I think that probably that's
You can see it a
last
little.
little bit that you can see. I doubt that it's there today.
I'll
I've
put
been
it up.
here a number of times. That's 1960. That's a long time ago.
2005.
Yes, that's the last time I was there. And that's my cousin. Now, these people are relatives of mine, but they're the only pictures I have, so it's almost as if it's just my family. But it represents, this is part of the boardwalk. It represents what it looked like. You don't have to even name them if you want to use any of these pictures.
Okay.
This is an old postcard of the Fort Orange, and it tells where the Mill Rocks were. Now, as you go backward, as you go away from the river, when you're going away from the river, that's where you are right now, the Mill Rocks.
Yeah.
You keep going, and you're going to wind up at where we used to swim when I was a kid, the dam, quote unquote. Do you know where the dam is today? There's not much
No.
water in it.
No. I
No.
don't think I had to.
Okay, let's see. There's a gas station on the corner.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know that.
And,
Now I know it.
you turn left and you go toward Brookview.
Oh, yes, I've seen that.
And you
Yeah.
go over a little, it's not much of a bridge, but you go over that bridge. That's the first dam. That's
Oh.
the upper dam.
I never knew that.
It used to be called, up in there was Cheneyville. And there was another paper mill right below. That's the second paper mill. And that little tiny thing is the bridge.
Oh, yeah.
That's the bridge. And that water went all the way out into here. There was a place called, I know it as Carner's Grove. Before that, it was the American Legion Grove, it was Vanderwall's Grove, and it was Harder's Grove, because he owned this other paper mill.
Paper mill.
We swam at that dam, we swam down here, and the boys did a lot of fishing. We used to swim at the Mill Rocks.
Oh.
I talked to a lot of much older people than I am. And they knew what I was talking about. They were doing it, in the 1930s, which surprised me.
Yeah,
But that's going to
Great.
stay with you too.
thank you.
That's going to stay with you too. You have to tell me what you have to make a decision. Unless you want this thing just as it is, you can borrow it too.
I can take pictures of the ones we want on here.
You can.
Yes, I can.
Oh, I just love
So
it.
we don't need to do anything except.
Now you got to
Is
have
this-
that one, and
Yeah.
you've got to have that one because it tells
to.
where it is.
We
But a young man would take his girlfriend there on a Sunday afternoon. I think that I'm coming back. I think that this one is probably the least interest to you. However, you might find something on here. Oh, we've got
Here.
too much stuff.
Ready?
Yeah.
I got contrary.
This represents, you never went under the sprinkler. We spent a lot of time under a sprinkler. So you're in 1947 when two really young little girls, probably 3-4 years old, are headed for the sprinkler. That is also me. You don't need that picture. However, mothers, and this lady lived across from us, they took their young children out and put them in a little tub and cooled them off. This was also taken on the river, Sunnyside.
I see this one, like on like a
Cleaning
sprinkler, but that
the
one,
fish pond.
yeah.
That is actually a fish pond, and this cherub had a fountain coming out of it. I still have that.
Wow.
I have that piece. I actually have her. She's not connected, but I do have her. Of course, we lived in Castleton, and generations of my family did. So they came up from Brooklyn. That is my dad. This is a horse trough in front of what was the American House, which is gone too. This is still in existence. I know where that is. I don't have it, but I know where it is. The only time they could land a plane on the river was in the summer. That's what they're doing. Kids got dressed up. I love this one with a cigarette in her mouth, and she, you know, how old is she? Not old. This is my dog on the river. These people came from Brooklyn too to visit. This is my grandson. A long time ago. He's 16. So this one is more family oriented, and I don't know that you'd be doing any of the things that are in this picture, other than that one.
Yeah, I think we could take that one. Maybe I think we could take that one.
Well,
Because that one.
You are free to do whatever you want to do with them.
Okay.
I didn't realize you could. I forget that you have wonderful
Yeah.
contraptions that you can work with. So, will you be putting any signs up or making? Are you going to make